Welcome back, everyone, for yet another episode of Super Voice 2022 by Synapse QA. I'm your host today as well. My name's Laveena, and you'll be watching the second episode for Super Voice. In the battle round, where our contestants are sharing their knowledge on the theme of human side of testing. As you know already, we had a fantastic start to Super Voice with our first episode, and the excitement is not less when we are here with the second one, too. So, once again, I welcome you to experience the second episode of Super Voice 2022. Let's start with welcoming our awesome judges who are the pillars to our Super Voice. So I'd like to welcome Anna, who is a renowned international speaker and recognized expert in the software test leadership. Lalit, who's got over 14 years of experience, and Lalit is working as a test engineer and quality leader. And we also have Naveen, who's a seasoned performance engineer with 15 plus years of experience in architecting, designing, and development of application and microservices and infrastructure automation, performance, chaos engineering, and CI/CD solutions. So, welcome, judges. How are you all? So, let's start one by one. Anna, how are you feeling? If you could describe your feeling in one word, what would that be?
Excited.
Nice. What about yourself, Lalit?
I'm super excited because I was there yesterday.
So, if you had one word, what would you say?
Curious.
Nice. And Naveen, what about yourself in one word?
Yeah, excited and looking for the new talents in the industry.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very, very much. So, without further ado, today we have our second episode, which is the battle round, the human side of testing. And we have 5 fabulous speakers on board today. So, are you all ready? I hope you are. So let's start off with the first contestant. Her name is Mahathee, and I just wanted to give a brief introduction before we have her on stage. She is a project lead quality member. She volunteers at the Test Tribe and loves interacting with people. But we want to know more about Mahathee. So, Mahathee, where are you? Come on stage. So tell us a little bit more about yourself. So I've got a very tiny introduction from you.
Okay. I'm from Hyderabad. You know, Hyderabad is famous for biryani. And so I'm an ardent lover of biryani, although there's no veg biryani. And I'm a baker too. I love baking. I bake cakes and I love art and craft as well. And I volunteer not only with the testing community, I go to any opportunity that get. And I love interacting with people, and they are my strength and they are my weakness as well. So that's a bit about me. And I'm a fun loving person.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mahathee. The stage is now yours. Good luck, and we'll catch you after your presentation.
How did the community shape me as a better tester? The reason I had chosen this topic is because I had gained a lot through the community over the last 2 years, and it has transformed my life. I became person from a frog in the well to a butterfly. I could bring about a lot of transformations at my workplace, and it has made me a happier person. So, this is what I would be speaking as a part of my session. So, before beginning, a little bit about me. So, I'm Mahathee, and I work as a lead at Persistent Systems Hyderabad. I'm a tester by profession, but I'm a fun loving person too. I love baking cakes and meeting new people. So, that's a bit about me. If I had to speak about my career experience, I would describe it as into two phases. The first one would be before the pandemic, and the second one would be since or after the pandemic. Why did I even divide this into two phases? The first reason being, before the pandemic, I was a person who would dread Mondays. I hated Mondays. I hated my workplace. I thought it was the end of my career. And that's why I classified this period of time into before the pandemic. And after the pandemic or during the pandemic, a lot of changes happened. And because of which, if you notice, I was very happy. I was as happy as this picture and even more. So, well, what do you think has changed? What has made that impact or what caused that difference? Can you guess? Or can you tell me what could have changed? If you would have read my topic introduction or title, it was nothing but the intervention of a community. Communities are a great place to be. I did not realize this until the August of 2020. In the August of 2020, I attended my first conference through a testing community called the Test Tribe. It was the Tribal Conf. I saw many speakers there. I had never even known that communities for testers existed. I was a very narrow minded person. I could not even figure out that there were communities for testers, there were so many like minded testers, and there were events or opportunities where testers could speak and express themselves. And this event changed the face of my career. And it gave me the first best thing that has ever happened to me. And this was my mentor Ajay. The reason I hated my career or my testing career was I didn't know good ways of doing testing. Ajay taught me better ways of doing testing. I had attended his testing lab graduates workshop, problem solving workshop. He showed me that simple is beautiful. There was a lot of simplicity in the ways he demonstrated testing. He always led by example, and he was not that person who preached a lot. And I have learned many skills. One of the most important skill that helped me become a better tester was questioning. I had undervalued the importance of questioning, asking good questions or asking pertinent questions or relevant questions or silly questions. Be it no matter what, questioning was one skill which transformed my life. And the second thing that he taught me was you can be a tester or you can be a developer, but you cannot be an authentic problem solver. Develop that skill and your career will change multifold. And I've seen many persons being testers or developers or designers in the roles they play in offices, but I've not seen authentic problem solvers. So these were some of the skills that I acquired from my mentor Ajay. The second thing was getting good friends. I was a solitary reaper all my life. I was an introvert. I didn't like meeting people initially. I hated meeting people. I felt vulnerable all the time. With the help of people like Rahul, I had understood the importance of friends and how friends can change your mindset and thinking. From him, I've learned that writing is a superpower. He told me simple ways of writing. With useful browser extensions like Virtuum, I had transformed my writing from business writing to technical writing to content writing. It was a whole new game. And the next important skill that a tester should have is thinking. And thinking is an underrated quality. So I learned better ways to think, how to think quickly, how to exercise thinking at difficult situations. And the most important quality, which was required for anybody, be it a developer or a tester, is the power of consistency and discipline and hard work. He showed me that how being consistent could yield results. He was a motivator and a go to person for me for all my problems or issues. Thank you, Rahul. The next thing is the larger communities that fostered my growth. So, as I said, I began the phase of my community career was the test tribe. So the test tribe gave me many opportunities. In the first year of my career with the community, I was a member. In the second year, I became a volunteer for the test drive. I have attended many events, many conferences, learned from brilliant testers, learned from the brightest minds of the country and across the globe. So, Test Drive and Mahesh, thank you for all the opportunities. Agile Testing Alliance is another community that I learned from. It showed me that leadership is one of the other skill that could be learned, and this skill would help me in the senior stages of my career. So, Aditya Garg sir, I will always be indebted to you because this will help me in my future stages. And the test chat was another such community. Many interesting discussions. I would always make notes of whatever has been discussed and I would use it at my workplace. Takela is one other such community that has many interesting testers. Abhijit, Shyam, and Lavanya, you've been great people and you motivated me to join your community as well. Thank you. Synapse QA. Needless to mention, creative, and I've always loved their creatives. I always wondered how would they create such amazing creatives. If there was some skill that I wanted to learn from them, this was one skill. And the Ministry of Testing is the next one. Ministry of Testing is a versatile community. I always admired Richard for being transparent. One of the things that I always wanted from a community was being transparent. If you participate in a conference, you should know what went wrong with your proposal. What did you do well? What did you not do well? Richard gave me this platform and this opportunity, as a result of which I was not known to anyone before. But because of all this, I became the face of the community, and many people started approaching me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and various social media handles. I felt very happy for the first time, although I was intimidated in the first place, but this gave me a lot of exposure. Many people, when I went to interview for opportunities, recognized me through my LinkedIn handle. What do you need more than that? A recognition without a portfolio or any kind of personal branding. So that was what the communities gave me. Apart from this, I also attended a lot of conferences and seminars. So Tribal Conf, TestFlix, ATA GTR, and Ministry of Testing Test Batch were some of the major conferences that I attended. And I also attended testing seminars hosted by different communities and webinars and small meetups. As I began to speak in meetups, my confidence and my communication improved. I was a novice or a new speaker, so it was difficult for me to be myself in the first instance itself. But these meetups and conferences were so well organized that they helped a new speaker like me also be me and present myself. Hackathons were one other area where I practiced the testing skills that I gained, and I learned a lot from them. I met new testers. Although I didn't win all of them or most of them, I had learned how I could be better at each stage. I made a lot of friends. I gained a lot of job opportunities through hackathons as well. I met a lot of good leaders. I saw a lot of good networking opportunities. I also became good friends with people beyond these opportunities. I also traveled to different places with these people. So in other words, I would like to say that all these opportunities gave me good communication skills, good networking skills, good ways of engaging myself and showing fellow testers that how beautiful it is to be with the community. I've always loved all these things, and I was always wondering why did I not do this before? Probably I was scared, or probably I didn't know that this could open a world of opportunities to me and to many testers. I would like every tester around the globe to experience these kind of opportunities. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it brilliant to meet people from various parts of the globe and know their perspectives? Well, yes, they accepted me the way I am. They accepted my opinions. They understood me. They accepted that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to have a different viewpoint and things. And now the impact. What do you think could have been the impact? Definitely, whatever you learned outside, if it could be applied at your workplace, you would be definitely happy. And if you would see the results coming out of all these activities, what more can you want from an event or from a community? So that was what exactly happened. So if you see, How could a frog become a butterfly? Strange, na? What I meant to say here was the transformation was multifold or 360 degrees. Before the pandemic, I was a frog in a well. I was having my own narrow side or a shallow side of way I looked at things. So from this stage, I transformed into a butterfly with shining colors. I could contribute meaningfully to my organizational initiatives. I could speak at meetings. I could clarify requirements. I could ask questions. I could inspire fellow testers. I love every part of the transformation that took place that molded me into a better tester. People were inspired by me. Fresh trainers or fresh testers at my organization approached me for opportunities. I was given the opportunity to train the Super 30, the fresh new batch of graduates in my organization, and I felt wonderful training them. I was so happy that I could teach them all that I had experienced, and I didn't want any fresher trainee to go through everything that I went. I told them how wonderful it is to be in a community. I taught them the basics of testing. I taught them good ways to do testing. I exposed them to a lot of good resources. I showed them good people in the community whom they could reach out to. So, isn't it wonderful? Definitely. I think this transformation was more satisfying to me than any other thing in my career. My manager was happy with me. In a course of 1 year, I got two promotions, and I've never asked for promotions at workplaces. And this was the first year I experienced that. Thank you to the testing communities and to all the testing professionals in the world to who helped me, and especially to my mentor Ajay. And the next thing. So to summarize, I would say the testing community showed me the human side of testing by being kind to me at all situations. It accepted me the way I was. It displayed empathy, which is one of the most required emotional skills for any person. It empathized with me in different situations, and it understood me the way I am, and it didn't want to be, and it didn't make me display myself as another person. So, isn't it wonderful? I thank the Synapse QA team for organizing such a wonderful initiative, and the jury of judges who would be providing their feedback to me, my fellow contestants who motivated me to participate, and all the people who supported this journey, my parents, my teachers, my friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mahathee. This was really, really nice to see. It's always nice to kind of thank your mentors. Of course, every all of us have started from somewhere, and it was beautifully done. Really, really nice. Made my heart happy for sure. But I would like to invite the judges, and I
Sure,
would like them to give you their feedback.
sure.
Okay, we're all there. So let's get started with Lalit. Your thoughts.
Unmute myself. So, Mati, very good talk. You made a very good impression by establishing this connection between the theme of this battle round, which is human side of testing, and why you have chosen this topic. And I think setting this stage, establishing this connection is very important. It helps people understand what to expect next. And the good thing is your talk has been very well on the theme, and everything you presented throughout has been complementing to the very core idea of this thing. So very good content. However, I think your slides did not really do a lot of justice to the content that you're presenting through your narration. I found your narration way more powerful, way more intriguing and captivating compared to the slides you're presenting.
Okay,
Uh, my suggestion would be just a suggestion, you don't have to take it.
okay.
You had lots of things presented on the slides, for example different communities, these that probably this could become your explanations or examples in your narration, and
Okay.
things you wanted to talk about could become very much part of your slides, because I think the key takeaway is not only just in knowing the names of different communities and forums out there, but
Yes.
how it really helped you has been a key takeaway for me as a tester, and I would like other testers to grab it in that essence.
Sure.
So that's from me. Very good talk, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lalit.
Is it me, Laveena?
Yep.
Hello,
Your
Naveen.
voice is breaking. Sorry. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you, Mahathee, for the excellent sharing your stories. Yeah, when I started, I don't have any mentor. At least you got a couple of mentors and communities. That's
Yeah.
great. And yeah, when it comes to slides, yeah, you shared a lot of things. You shared a lot of communities, mentors, but you told everything. But I was expecting some kind of a groundbreaking couple of incidents. How it made really impact on you,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
any one or two groundbreaking incident if you had added, it would be in great presentation. So
Okay.
that is missing. That's what I think.
Okay.
You mentioned everything on a very high level. So
Yeah.
communities helped me, people helped you, and you got two
Yes.
promotions. That is excellent. No one gets two promotions in a year. But what made your leadership to give you promotion, and how the community or the mentor helped you? So that groundbreaking incident story is kind of missing. That's the core of your presentation.
Okay.
That's what I see.
Okay, Naveen.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Otherwise, it's excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Naveen. And lastly, over to you, Anna.
Hi, thank you very much, Mahathee, for your very inspiring story. We all proud of a community member that can relate your experiences to like a lot of testers out there, and it's fantastic. Congratulations on your progress. My suggestions would be a little bit. Uh, you so when I'm looking at your slides and I'm seeing the pictures or I'm hearing the names, Richard, Rahul, Ajay, I know these guys, they are friends for me, but I'm not sure everybody who is gonna see your presentation or listen to you knows who these people are.
Okay.
So it, you probably want to provide a more information about the name of these people on the slides,
Okay.
who they are, and in what way you had an interaction with them. Because I think it's very important. Because otherwise, I'm like seeing two guys. I
Okay.
happen to know those guys, and I know what they could teach you. But
Okay.
if I wouldn't know, to me, it, like really doesn't give any information.
Okay.
That's number one. Your presentation skills are very powerful. It's really good. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, Anna.
Um, and one more thing on the slides. Again, I would give more. I feel they were like a little bit of a clip art. It wasn't like a holistic. Um, your presentations, your slide deck is not as uh, compelling as your talk.
Okay.
So your talk is very powerful, but your slides are like um, this, and that, And I feel
Okay.
that mm, it's like if you take the slides from your talk, then they wouldn't give you much. They wouldn't
Okay.
give you that much information as what your presentation was. So I would suggest to a little bit make the slides more you, not
Okay.
like not like some clip art pictures, but more relate to your story. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I made myself clear, but yeah, I would love to look at the slides and be as much excited as when I'm hearing to you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you so much, judges. And once again, Mahathee, I would like to congratulate you as well because being part of the nine is a big thing. So you have another milestone kind of ticked off. But good luck with the rest of this event. And yeah, to now go on to our next speaker. I would like to invite Chinmayee, and I'll give an introduction first. So, Chinmayee is a QA for more than a decade, full stack QA engineer, frequent contributor to GitHub and blogging, and in the journey of QA envisioning what keeps Chinmayee thrilled. So, welcome on stage, Chinmayee.
Hi, Laveena. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Awesome. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very
You
much.
have been a
So,
lovely
Chinmayee,
you
sorry.
have you have been a lovely host.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Thanks. So, Chinmayee, now it's your turn, and I would like to give you the stage. You have 15 minutes, so good luck.
Thank you. Namaste. This side Chinmayee Baitharu, and I am going to present with you with the topic the human side of testing. First of all, I am grateful to Synapse Super Voices to have given me a platform to talk on this topic. So, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I will try to share my experiences and learnings that I have gathered applying the human approaches to testing processes. And greetings to all the panel members and the contestants to have joined me in the presentation. So let's focus on the human side of testing. Coming to the next slide. So I have divided that of the slide into three main parts. First one is the human versus machines. Second part is the human versus human traits. And finally, the solution. In human versus machines, the machines mainly talk about the automation. 100% automation is a myth. And if I talk about the industry standards, then all the organizations, 28% of the test cases has been automated and rest all are manual processes. So automation reflects that one size does not fit all. So the rip and replace strategy for manual testing has universally failed. The importance and interest in testing automation remains in the area where we can leverage the automation. And what this area is like regression and doing the mundane and repetitive tasks. For example, if I'll talk about a web application that is being tested on a browser. For example, the mainstream browser is Firefox browser. So Firefox gets updated in every 6 months. So do we think that every 6 months we are going to apply the human testing activities again and again? No. So therefore, we have to take into account the automation with the various tools and techniques that is available in the market. So importance and automation comes into play when we are following the methodologies like agile and continuous integration. Coming to the human and versus human traits, have you ever heard of about a connoisseur of testing? The answer would be no, I haven't heard of, because there cannot be one person or a one tool set which would say that I can give you 100% bug-free product. Why? Because testing is a socio-technical field. If I talk about testing and think of like a Venn diagram where you have the human interactions on one side and other side you have the technical aspects. So testing comes in the midpoint where the two things overlap. Here, we will try to mimic the end user and therefore we will get the good results. And here we should try to avoid making socially acceptable versions of ourselves. And in this point, I would be trying to talk about the biases. And finally, the solution. Going to the next slide. Okay, prior going to the first part of the presentation, I wanted to present you with the anomaly by Marvin Minsky. He said in the 50s, it was predicted that in 5 years, robots would be everywhere. Then in 60s, it was predicted that 10 years robots would be everywhere. In 70s, again the number of years doubled to 20 years. And in 80s, it was predicted to be 40 years. So where is that time where the robots can do anything that the human being can do? The vision of the freedom that has been the premise of the sci-fi movie. Have you seen that coming? I haven't. So why is it that we are not into the era of robots doing everything? Let's go to the next slide, which will give you the clear picture. So imagine this individual to be a tester. I can correlate myself to this person standing in the midway. He works in an environment of high stakes, enormous pressure, and competitive priorities. So where is the individual adds value? So he also works in the fear factor, the blame game rewards, and still it tries to put in more of energy and optimism in the work he does. So human beings have irreplaceable skills. And if I talk about the testing, there are non-objective testings where the human beings are at par with that of the robots. First is the ease of use. Nowadays, you have seen that of the applications like Facebook, Instagram. So the ease of the use of the application is too much, like that it is not gender biased, it is not age biased. You do not need to have a formal education to work across that of the application. Coming to the next point is the user action anticipation. It is where the human beings can think. Imagine that you're working in the shopping cart like Amazon and you added some items in that of the shopping cart, and because of some distractions, you got out from your containing that of the shopping, and then we come back. Do you think that the cart should be empty, or do you think that the cart should be given out with more options that is relating to the items which are there in the cart? So this anticipation of what next should be there and how the system should behave is what makes the human being stand at par. Secondly, the visual behavior and the look and feel. The robots can test only the validations, like in a page, where are the web elements, whether the color is looking fine or not, with the new tools and techniques which now help us in the visual testing behavior. But what is the look and feel, how does it look, whether it is appealing to the individual or not, that inputs comes from that of the user. So does that make me a super user, a superhuman being? Definitely not, because I work with a lot of stress, and the stress factors include the defensive reactions, the shrinking time frames, the delicate egos, and the diminishing resources. These are the few of the psychological, organizational aspects that I have to fight in the day-to-day life. And how does it ensure that I give the very best? So let me present you with some of the case studies. So this case study one, it will reflect the human touch of tools and the techniques. So here there was a problem statement that we needed to verify the push notification service endpoints. To a layman, what is a push notifications? The push notifications are basically in the form of communication in the form of SMS, voice, and email. So that can be in variety of forms like banner, badge, and alerts. So we had been given a task to test the end to end. So this service APIs were in the form of the payloads, where the sample payloads were given to us, and we had to validate what were the mandatory fields over there. So what we did, we use the simple open source platform for the API testing, the Postman. And yeah, but there was an hiccup, and the hiccup was the service not available. So what did we do different, and how did we face this difficulty, and how did we found the undiscovered thing? So the next thing covers it. So yeah, we did the functional testing, but that with the twist. We did not know that we were approaching the load testing, but we got to use the Postman's collection runner, where we used the iteration to run that of the APIs that was 60 or 70s in the in count, and we ran them in the iteration. And to our surprise, we got 503 service unavailable error. When we got with the results to that of the developers and the stakeholders, they say that the APIs are all running fine. So were we wrong? Definitely no wrong. Definitely not. So there was an early discovery of the configuration issue that would have caused a havoc in the real time. If you want to go to more details of how the notification services work, here is the link where you can refer to. But if I'll tell you in the layman terms, it was like a notification service mainly consists of four parts. First of all, a backend application. Then you have the notification hub. Then you have the push notification of that, which is device specific. And finally, the application which will get that of the notification. So if the services was failing, that means the notifications which were originated from the source, they were not reaching that of the destination. It might happen in the production, might have happened in the production that the notification got dropped, and with this complex process of going from one end to another end, it would have been difficult. And guess what, the issue was with that of the notification hub, because of the nomenclature, because it goes through a number of that the tags and finds that of the targets, and the targets can be your iOS device, the Android device, the Windows, the Kindle era. And this case study mainly represents attention to detail and attunement. So what was the problem statement? The problem statement was to verify the data integrity, the data confidentiality of the storing in the cloud. So it earlier days, what happened, the organizations used to store that of the data in the local servers, but with the cloud computing and the cloud services coming into play, what happened, they also wanted to move the data to the cloud, but there was a catch. We wanted the data to be secure, to be encrypted, to be going to that of the user who is meant to get out of data. Otherwise, if it is not secure, then it will fall into the hands of the ethical hackers who will read that of the data, which is the integral part of the organization. So therein we use the secure data sharing services from that of the cloud providers. So the goal was to test the end-to-end data services, so that you use those APIs, then you send that of the data which is encrypted, then after that a link is sent to that of the target user who would be having that of the MRN, or who would be having that of the key to open that of the attachment, and other users will never be able to open that attachment. But what was the hiccup? The expiry message of the very much alive data. So it was like one data is having that of the time to live as 1 day, and another data is having the time to live as 90 days. So if it is having the time to live for 1 day, it is valid for a day. So if I click on that of the link, and if I am the target user who can open the data with that of the right key, then I can open it, but I was getting an invalid request. First of all, I went to the developers, they say, oh, this is an intermittent issue. So what did I try differently? The answer is in the next slide. Yeah, it was a functional testing, but yes, we had put the user spectacles on. What we did, that we tried playing with that of the test data. We created that of the data where the file name was same, but the time to live was different. So with the different lifespans. So what was the queue handler doing for the data services is that it was deleting that of the data which was latest. For example, if its time to live is 1 day and the time to live is 90 days, and the file which is latest is time to live is 90 days with the same name, so it was deleting the record which was having the lifespan of 90 days, but the one with 1 day was still in place, and the one which is 90 days was giving me the invalid request error. So if you want to go into the details of the technicalities, here is the link. You can go and read how did we overcome this problem. So in this problem, we tried replicating the user's behavior, expose the flaw in that of the data handling, and what did we apply? The critical thinking. So how did we, and what did we learn from these two case studies? The things that we learned from the case studies are the human consciousness, the experience, the knowledge of an end user. So you can see here on the right hand side, it's the left hand side, it says the physical qualities. The physical qualities, the information that the user is having. User has been the researcher or the tester. He knows what to test in, like the goal. Then he gets that of the feeling. Who would be the end user like? He has to correlate to the mindset of the end user. Then he has to act. And prior doing that, all the knowing, feeling, acting will create that of the conscious system. He knows, he is aware of what he is doing and what he wants to achieve. And in this way, he gets that learning, the learning in the behavior, and applies it, applying it to that of the all the environment. So in the process, and this is a process where he keeps on learning, and from that of the experiences gathered, he can tackle out more problems. But this is the human approach that we apply to that of the testing, which alone the tools cannot do, because the tools cannot think and they cannot correlate to the end user. But to make that of the tools to that of the right use, you know how to make the optimum use of the tools. So this is the solution: eliminating human errors, but not the human. You cannot eliminate the human in the whole picture, but yes, what you can control is the human errors. One who is skilled at using the tools and techniques, like if I have a little recap and go to the case study one, we used Postman for the load testing, right? And one who knows what, how, and where, and what to target with that of the tools, and knows how to optimum use that of the tools and techniques, then only we can hit that of the target and make the products better for the users. Coming to the next slide is, now I will talk to the second part of the presentation, that is the human versus human traits. Now we'll talk about the test biases. The test biases mainly fall in the category of the cognitive psychology, which talks about the mental processes. Okay, so the way we think and act and respond is guarded by a lot of environmental and psychological factors. I have picked up 5 of them. Let's go and take a look on it. First one is the framing effect. When does the framing effect come into play? The framing effect comes into
Hi,
play.
Chinmayee.
Yeah.
Sorry
Sorry
about that.
about that.
15 minutes are over.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Thank you so much. Really insightful. I wish we could finish the whole session, but because everyone has to hard stop on 15 minutes, we just want to keep it equal for everyone. So thank you, Chinmayee. I would like to invite the judges on stage to come and give their nice and crisp feedback. So first, let's start with Anna.
Hello.
Hi, Chinmayee. Congratulations. Amazing talk. Amazing. Your energy, engagement, it was just great. Number one, we would love to listen more to you, but you didn't fit in 15 minutes. So, what I mentioned to previous contestant, please, when you do your presentation, uh, time yourself. So in your home, just do the presentation from the first. Not don't look at the slides. Just talk it through, and then notice the time. And when you notice the time, then start prioritizing what exactly should be in, should be out. Um, it's not just your mistake. It's we have seen that several times as well. And in the beginning, there was the very first slide when you had three, how you say it, what was it, you've been talking about, like, I remember there was something about automation, 20%, 28% of all cases being automated. It wasn't on the slide, but this is like very important, compelling piece of information. I would love for it to be in the slide, because I'm seeing text on the slide and you talking about some information that is not captured anywhere. So slide should be corresponding information, and the slide should be corresponding to information that you provide. Okay, otherwise I was really engaged with all your talk. So congratulations on that. Amazing.
Lalit.
Thanks, Anna.
Uh, very good
I
talk,
really
very powerful one. Can you hear me? I mean, this is the first talk, I would say, where I was more interested in listening than taking notes, or even grading, because I really wanted to see what is coming next. So I like your energy. Your content is powerful, original, full of lots of relatable examples. So, like Anna said, try to practice doing it more in time. And I'm still wondering why you are here, because I already see you as a very experienced speaker who basically just need to do it a couple of times better, and you could be ready for the stage. And it's a compliment. I'm not complaining.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
thank
Over
you.
to you, Naveen.
Yeah,
You know,
thank you, Chinmayee, for the presentation. Yeah, I like the case studies, case study 1 and 2, and the way you presented is good. But yeah, case study 1, since I'm coming from the performance background, I mean, Postman doesn't support natively load testing. So, I mean, I hope you have used that collection runner, but still you are able to find the defects. So I was thinking how poorly they designed the APIs, because just running with 10 to 50 iterations itself, it is throwing the error means. Then think of when it goes to production, what impact it have caused, right? So for something we have used some full-fledged load testing tool like JMeter or K6 or other commercial tools, it could have revealed more defects. So yeah, the case study was excellent. Again, as Anna mentioned, yeah, the time probably would have practiced a little bit more, but otherwise excellent screen presence and content. Thank you.
Thank you so much, judges, and congratulations, Chinmayee. Good luck with everything. And again, it's great to be part of one of the 9 peoples in the battle round. So thank you so much.
good day, everyone,
Thank you.
and thank you for giving me your time.
Thanks a lot. Okay, so we will be taking a short break. Take this opportunity to thank and give a shout out to our episode partner, Provar, a complete testing solution engineered for Salesforce applications. And also a special mention to our amazing well wisher and close friend, Tristan Lombard, for his continuous support and motivation. Before we move on to our next contestant, Swathiga, we are going to take a short break and we will be back soon. You are watching Super Voice, and I'm your host, Laveena. Welcome back, everyone. We don't want to keep you waiting, so let's have Swathiga on stage. Before we get started with Swathiga, hi Swathiga.
Hi Laveena, how are you? Hope
Hello.
you're doing good.
I'm good, thank you. I would like to introduce Swathiga to all of the audience, and then Swathiga can take the stage. So, Swathiga has 7 years of manual ETL testing experience. She possesses valuable insights, keen on analysis, and team approach to implement best practices. So, thank you very much, Swathiga. I would like to wish you good luck, and now the stage is yours.
Thanks, Laveena. So today, the human side of testing. So it's about what is the approach we can do when we are doing the testing. So the topic which I have taken is biasing in testing. So normally, in every aspect, like when we in day-to-day life. Uh, in day-to-day life, like we have when we are buying some product or when we are going to some place, we will try to get the reviews from other people and our friends and our relatives. So based on that judgment, based on their views, like we will tend to go towards that approach, choose that option. So we will generally, we will not be open, generally in day-to-day life we will not be open minded. So in how it impacts in the testing when we are doing the manual testing or automation testing, whatever it is. So let me go to the next slide. So what is biasing? So biasing in testing, it's about like when we are doing an testing approach, like when we do the process starts from test case creation, execution, and reporting and everything. So when we are doing the test case creation, when we do the scope, test coverage, how about the what is the scope we are covering? So generally, it's if, for example, in a banking application or any software application, the in the previous project team, what all the approach they carried out, the same approach we tend to follow, rather trying to bring the new practices and new test cases. So that all it's all implies about the biasing and how it is going to impact in the software testing when we are when we are doing the biasing approach unintentionally without knowing to our knowledge. So let me go to the next slide. So cognitive biasing. The word cognitive implies that the relational approach, the relational thinking, the reasoning techniques. What we are doing. For there are many types of biasing. Let me go one by one. So it's negativity bias. Negativity bias. The word itself implies that when we are buying some product, or when we are going to some place, for example, any bad experience previously in software testing, when we are testing one module application and one module in that has a very major defect that impacts the application breakage also. So when we are doing other build, when we are testing the other build of the other build on the same module, we tend to focus on testing that module more, because we had a bad experience, we had the impact already. So rather when the new build is deployed, so rather the impact dependency of that build on other modules, we will tend to ignore it. So that due to which we there are chances of missing, finding the bugs on other modules as well, the impact. So it's about the negativity bias and the confirmation bias. Confirmation bias, it's like just generally about like when we are trying to find positive test cases more than the negative, with the less of negative test cases. For example, uh, in a numeric entry field, we will be like trying to give the numerical numbers and whether the test case is passed or not in the manual testing, front end testing. But we will try to the tendency to avoid giving the text field or the spaces or the special characters will be less. So we are more towards the approach will be the positive test case scenario. The negative test case scenario we will be tend to give the less approach. So this is about confirmation bias. And the resemblance bias, based on a situation. For example, in a web page application, in the client server architecture, when we were testing previously, the response time was very more. The application slowness was happened. So we will the reason what we found out in the previous testing, maybe as an example I'm saying, due to the overload, the number of users will be more. So due to the overload, so when we are testing the other web page application, when we find the slowness in the application, we will try to figure out, we tend to approach to find the same reason, since the situation is similar. So this is about the resemblance bias. And unintentional blindness, which means there is a test case like for for example, count the number colors, based on the colors you have to count it. So when we will try to focus only on, for example, red 3 numbers and green 4 numbers, like that, the other significant information around the when we are counting the colors, we tend to miss it. So which is an obvious information. We have to verify those as well, so that we will not miss any bugs when we are doing the testing. And the bandwagon effect, is again the same, like when the users are like, when the previous testers or co-testers are pleased, when they are testing, okay, this module is already a stabilized module, and there is no more, not much build, or no more the changes are deployed by the development team. So it's a very consistent and defect free module. So you can focus on this module, which is always having an issue. Whenever the new build happen, even whenever the new build happen on the other module, this module will have an impact. So you can give weightage to this. So based on that experience, we will try to give the weightage to the critical module, but not on the other module which is stabilized. But the approach is like, we have to test on that as well. At least by an exploratory testing, we have to give a not when even when we don't have the scope, or even when we don't have the timeline or bandwidth, we have to give the at least dry run testing. We have to give not even a regression test, at least a exploratory testing method. We have to test those model as well, so that the chances of missing the bugs will be less. And congruence bias, so congruence bias is about like thinking the alternative method. For example, when we are trying to test one data, so we try to test the data which is majorly used by the users, not by the less data, the data which is not majorly used by the users. We tend to pick the data which is majorly used by the users. But the data which is even not a major which is not majorly used by users, we have to test that data as well. There may be chances that data, that record may be having an issue, having an it may be even a sporadic issue. So even if it is a sporadic issue, we have to test that record which is not majorly used, that or that module which is not majorly used. In that way we can avoid avoid the bugs which will not be missed. So let me go to the next slide. So these are all the other type of biases when we do the testing approach. Observational bias is nothing but like when we do the test design, as generally speak, like when we generally, there is a quote like a picture is worth of thousand words. But as from the tester approach, when the software is in the design phase, we'll be having the test from the testers also, or the test manager also will be included in the meeting. So when we see the design approach, there are chances or more chances to miss when we are designing the test scope coverage. There are chances of missing the other module testing as well, because of the pictorial representation. So only when it comes to the development phase, when it is in a detailed structure, the chances of the scope improvement will be, test coverage scope improvement will be more. So this is the observational bias. And the reporting bias, for example, compatible browser compatibility, for example. There is a scenario like the user is able to play the video in Google Chrome, but not efficiently in the Firefox browser. This can be reported in two ways. User cannot able to play the video in the Firefox browser. This is one approach. The other approach, user and the Firefox browser, the users using the application or less number of users, maybe 1% of our users will be using the Firefox browser, and the other mostly Google Chrome browser is the majorly used. And the other way of reporting this bug will be, less than 1% of our users who is using this browser Firefox is facing the issue, and the other 99% of the users is not facing this issue because they are using the Google Chrome. So if we into I would just like to ask the people, like, if which will be better, the approach which would be better, reporting the defect in the first method or by the second method. I would suggest, as per the biasing approach, the ideal way should be the first method, because the Firefox browser, even if it is used by 1% of users, even if it is non-critical, the bug reported should be in that way, because less than 1% of users are facing this issue, then the weightage given to the bug will be very less. So due to which there are chances which can be ignored or it is acceptable, like that the reason can be given from the PMOs or the BAs, anyone like that. The other one is, it's also relatable, survivorship bias. It's about survivorship. Generally a saying will be, in every advertisement we will say 99% of the customers are happy, and what about the 1% of the customer? The same way for testing the application, when we are choosing the data set or any data in the module, uh, the data which is not having any issue, 99% of the data will not be having any issue, or 1% of data will be having an issue, it may be even a sporadic one. So that data we will tend to ignore it because it's just 1%, and 99% of the data we are trying to tend to find the positive records which will not have any issue, so that we can give the test case pass. But this is about survivorship. We are trying to survive in a positive scenario, but the application should be able to survive even on the negative scenario, even if it is 1%. So this is about survivorship bias. So this is, or not intentionally when we are doing the testing done by the testers, but unintentionally when we are doing it, we are tend to move towards this approach. And the next one is confirmation bias, and I have already explained that in the previous slide in the pictorial representation, and also the congruence bias as well. So the fundamental attribution error. So what is fundamental attribution error? For example, there is a defect which has been raised already, and that defect is raised already, and we have a due date from the developer, and even with the agreement of from the business analyst. So there is another similar defect which is also raised, which the fix will be the same. For example, for example, I'm saying the application which is in APAC region or LATAM region or the European region. So the fix will be applied, whatever the fix applied by the developer will be the same in the other regions as well. But when without having the communication, without having the awareness, we tend to raise the defect in the other region as well, and it is a similar defect. So this can be avoided. So that how this can be avoided, why? Because we can avoid this because there is already a solution, already the due date or the fix, when the developers are going to fix it, we will be already having an information on that. So when they are applying the fix, and it will be already communicated, it will be applied on all the other regions, all whichever is impacted will be on those impacted regions or modules will be this fix will be applied. It will be already clearly communicated. So we can avoid this by having a very well clear communication with the developers and with the including the other team members, testing team members, so that the false bugs, it's, I cannot say as false bugs, it's a redundant bugs, we can avoid the redundant bugs. So by having a collaborative approach with the developer and the testers, by we testers having a collaborative approach together, having taking the ownership of that bug, we can avoid this fundamental attribution error one. And the bandwagon effect, I think I have already explained in the previous pictorial slide. And the inattentional blindness and the resemblance bias as well. And negative bias is already it's again the same thing. The negativity bias is like about the developers, the okay, the our peer people will be saying like this defect, this module, this build, the new build is coming, okay, this new build is applied in the which module, okay, for example module A. And what are the impacted modules? Module B and C. Okay, you can give weightage to the module B because it is already having an always having an defect, always having an issue whenever the build is whenever the build is applied. So you can give more weightage to the module A, but not to C because it's defect free, it's stable and consistent. So with that approach, with that review, and even from our past experience, okay, when the build has come, this a module A has already had the issue, but module C was it was very stable when we tested. So we can give the least approach towards this. At the last, we can if we have time, we can test the module C. But that is called negativity bias approach. So to avoid that, we have to manage our time or bandwidth, even to at least we have to test the other module C as well, at least by overall main integrate main functionalities, so that we can avoid having an application breakage. And we will go to the next slide. Okay, how we can overcome this?
Hi,
How?
Swathiga.
Yeah, hi Lavina.
You just had 15 minutes and you've gone over it. So I'm sorry, I have to stop you there.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so
Thank you so much. It's been
okay,
insightful. I would like to invite the judges to actually give you their opinions and feedback.
okay, thanks Lavina.
So let's start first with Naveen, please.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Laveena. Thanks, Swathiga, for the presentation. I think you threw a lot of information. I think you did not spend much time on the presentation, I guess. You just copied a lot, I mean, entered a lot of text, and the information between what you're talking and the slides are not balanced. Only text we can see, and you're explaining a lot, and it is not, I'm not seeing anything in the slides. Probably you could have added some kind of a small graphics for each kind of bias that could have been made some more impact. And basically, a lot of information in the slides in the first pictorial representation, and second slide also a lot of text. Basically, that balance is missing. That's what my suggestion is. So you have to balance both slides as well as your talking points. You should not keep one is too much, one is less. So again, it will not reach the audience well. So try to balance both probably in future.
Sure Lavina, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen. Over to you, Anna.
Hi, thank you very much for your presentation, Swathiga. Okay, and I think from my point of view, this is what happened because I had the same mistake with my presentation one time. You have an idea of what you want to present, but there is constraints. These constraints that will always happen in any presentation program that you're gonna experience, unless it's a meetup and people just can stay with you for as many time as they want. The constraints is the time. And I understand that there is misbalance between information you want to give us, the audience, and the time. So you have to make some hard choices. Those hard choices is that you have to remove some information unless you have time to do it. So number one in this is you practice and time yourself how much time it takes your presentation. You can go ahead and just do your presentation the way you want it, and then you realize it takes 30 minutes and you have 15. And then you go back and you have to pick and choose. And this is what Naveen was telling you about. Number two is when you have to pick and choose, then really make a hard choice of what exactly you're talking about. And then make each of your slide correspond to your little story, because you give example for each of type of bias. And visually, we would love to see an addition to your story. So one bias per slide would be much better. Nobody reads the you also, what I would suggest for you to read a little bit about how the presentation slides should be, like what are like the best practices for presentation. And there is one practice which is do not put text lower than certain size into the slide. Why? Because people cannot read it. I was trying to read what you're saying, I couldn't see it. So that slide doesn't make sense for me because I cannot read it. But I want to listen to you. So a picture corresponding to your little story and example would be much better. And what I also notice is you try to rush yourself. When you speak and you rush and rush and rush, and you still didn't make it on time. So relax, time yourself, and just practice the timing. Because your presentation skills are good, you just rushing yourself. Okay, good luck to you.
Thanks,
Look
Anna.
forward to the next presentation.
Okay.
Thank you. And some words from you, Lalit.
Only some. Okay. Uh, Swathiga, first of all, I would like to congratulate you for picking up this topic because biases are one of the very important aspects to keep in mind or be familiar with when we are to become a good tester. You know what you're talking about. You had very good examples, but I agree with what Anna and Naveen already covered. Perhaps you could focus on some biases and giving them examples, and maybe the format I would follow is this is a bias, this is my personal story about it, and these are the examples, and probably these are some suggestions of how to counter that. That would be something people probably can take away with themselves instead of having a lot of information about biases and not really knowing in the end what do I do about it now. So perhaps I think you could try placing it down a bit, slicing it down a bit, and adding more personal stories of the biases you were talking about. It makes it more relatable, more memorable for people. That's it. But all in all, good talk. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Lalit.
so much, Lalit. So thank you so much, judges and Swatiga. And once again, congratulations, Swatiga, for making one of the 9 peoples in the battle round. So claps to you and good luck. I would like to invite Suman on stage. He has 14 years of experience as a senior consultant. His hobbies include public speaking, workshops, volunteering for corporate social and social responsibility. He's a member of the Harvard Business Review. And some of the awards he's won or has been finalists for is a Public Speaking Contest Award and semi-finalist for India Testing League in 2014. So, hi, Suman.
Hi,
Welcome to
Laveena.
Voice 2022. I would like
Thank
you
you.
to take the stage, and you have 15 minutes
Sure.
to give your present.
Hello, everyone. Today I'll be presenting on the topic of digital
digital testing for customer-driven digital transformation. So the agenda for today is we will first discuss about what is digital transformation and digital testing, what are the different types of digital testing, and what are the different strategies that we need to follow for digital testing. What are some of the key challenges in the digital transformation projects and how digital testing can lead to effective digital transformation and which in turn will lead to enhanced customer experience. And finally, the conclusions and key takeaways. So let's begin. First, what is digital transformation? Now, we all know that in any industry, the customer is the king, and I also say customer is the queen as well. So, customer is the most important stakeholder in any project, which in turn leads to the importance of customer experience. We all strive for the top customer experience. So digital transformation is nothing but its integration of digital technologies in every aspect of business to deliver enhanced value to customers. Now, we all have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. There were supply chain disruptions, there was time to market pressure. Because of the disruptions, all the final products, be it in any industry, it was taking time to reach to the customer, and naturally the expectations and the behavior of customer changed as well, which in turn made the importance of digital transformation even more. Let's look at some of the examples of the digital transformation projects. So here I'll be discussing about few examples from banking and finance and few from the healthcare industry. First, with the banking and finance industry, we all are familiar with mobile banking. Every banking companies, banks, they have their own application and everything can be done with one touch in your mobile application, be it the bill payments, credit card payments, electronic transaction. So that is one great example of digital transformation projects. Another example is about cardless payments. To make things more secure, to make your information more secure, we are moving towards cardless payments. And here you can see one of the customer is making the payment using the iWatch. Next, let's look at some of the examples from the healthcare industry. During the COVID time, doctors, we could not go to in-person, meet them in person, and especially when we had the COVID symptoms. And that's why virtual health visits also came into picture. One of the personal example I can give from my life is my wife had COVID symptoms, and as a result, she was restricted from meeting the doctor in person. But they were scheduled the Zoom meeting, and she was able to do her initial consultations. So that is one example of virtual health visits. Also, electronic portals for patients is a part of the digital transformation project. So there were times when every doctor used to have the patient files on paper, but now everything is going for very advanced electronic portals, and digital testing plays a very key role here as well. Next, what is digital testing? Digital testing is a specialized software testing type which covers a range of software testing methods, and it involves the holistic testing approach in terms of covering the end-to-end testing, which comprises of functional and non-functional testing. And because of its complete end-to-end approach and covering vast range of software testing methods, it is in high demand across industries. Now, these are some of the statistics for the digital market assurance. The market size by 2026 is valued at $8.86 billion, and the valuation by 2028 is going towards $11.36 billion. Now, let us look at what are some of the different types that are covered under the aspects of digital testing. So, main, it's functional testing and the non-functional testing. which forms the heart of the digital testing. Under functional testing, we have four different types of testing, which is the unit testing, where the smallest software in isolation is being covered. Next comes the integration testing, because all the digital applications, they have lot of any customer journey progresses through multiple integrations. So that's why to verify whether all the integrations and all the pieces are coming together and having a good experience, we need to go for integration testing. Next, under the functional testing, we have the regression testing to make sure that what was working before is working as expected when the new code is being introduced as part of the digital transformation project. And fourth is the mobile application. As we saw an example of mobile banking, so mobile is a very important part as part of digital transformation projects, and that's why mobile application testing, thorough mobile application testing is very essential. As part of non-functional testing, we cover performance and load testing. We need to see under different pressure and different fluctuating network, how well the digital applications are behaving as expected for the customer. Security plays a very key role as part of the digital testing, so we need to include that. Usability testing covers about how the navigations are going and what is the look and feel from the customer perspective, and then accessibility testing, so that any person with different limitations like visual, hearing, all the rules have to be followed and they are given a fair chance for the digital experience as well. These are some of the tools that are used as part of the digital testing. AX is used for the accessibility testing. Userlytics goes for getting the customer feedback in real time. Appium is used for mobile application testing. UiPath is for test management and robotic process automation for the business processes. Veracode is for security aspects of the digital testing, and Apache JMeter covers the performance and the load testing aspects in the digital side. Let's look at some of the strategies under the digital testing. So first, this is the digital test strategy flow. First, we will identify the testing goals. What are the different aspects from the executive leadership side that we need to cover? Then we'll hire the right people and go for the recruitment of testing resources. It will be the security testers, performance testers, automation testers, and different kinds of people are required. Followed by requirement analysis and design. We need to understand the customer goals from the customer, what are the requirements, and then design the test scenarios and cases. Followed by digital test automation. So whichever are the feasible test cases, those we need to automate. Once the test cases are designed, we have to execute the test cases so that we can see what is the feedback. And then we will monitor the testing progress, and then we will prepare the test report for the test management and the leadership. And this gives us a good option to capture the feedback from customers and constantly improvise our digital experience. Let's look at some of the digital transformation challenges. According to 2020 study by Boston Consulting Group, 70% of the digital transformation projects fail to meet their goals without significant setbacks. There are poorly defined key performance indicators, poor quality, a lot of complex integrations are there because a customer flows through multiple workflow. So there are a lot of complicated integrations, and naturally for every customer, there are different configurations. Let's look at some of the digital disasters for customer experience. Now, this was one of the transactions that I had as part of the identity theft and customer fraud. So you can imagine what I had to go through. So this was a clear breach of data security and identity theft, but fortunately it got resolved and I got my money credited. But for 1 week, it was very stressful for me. On July 8th, 2022, there was a massive outage of Rogers Telecommunications in Canada, and as a result, there was a huge digital disruption, and poor customer experience across Toronto and the nearby cities. So you can imagine when the digital disasters happen, how the customer can be really tortured for several days or weeks. How digital testing enables effective digital transformation. Digital testing, as we saw, it goes for end-to-end testing and a holistic approach, which in turn leads to a great customer experience delivery. All the integrations and workflows are tested successfully. The data is more secure because we go for more security testing and compliance testing. And naturally, it allows for continuous improvement because we are constantly taking feedback from customers, and we are able to personalize the customer experience by taking their individual and customized requirements. Let's see how digital testing enhances the customer experience. We'll start off with the banking and finance industry. In banking and finance, as we saw, customer data and security is very important. So digital testing leads to high quality and secure banking applications. It ensures safety of customer data and prevents data crash and transaction failures because naturally we are going for a holistic end-to-end testing approach of functional and non-functional testing. In the telecom industry, we validate a lot of in-depth underlying API layers and network security, which in turn leads to application quality. And in the telecom, we are able to resolve the client query and ticket resolution in a much faster way, thus leading to a better customer experience journey. In the healthcare, every device, medical devices are interconnected to each other. So that is very important as part of the testing. We will go for functional validation, application security, and data privacy to make sure patients' data is secured. There are a lot of regulations that we need to validate because healthcare is regulated industry. So we go for compliance validation, and because there are a lot of workflows and integrations within the healthcare system. So we need to validate those as well through digital testing. Some of the conclusion and key takeaways, let's look at that. We saw that the main objective of digital transformation is to deliver amazing customer experience. And that's why the focus is to see the workflow and the integration and to see what are the opportunities to improve customer experience. We saw that digital testing covers whole wide variety of software testing methods, and it is a holistic approach which covers end-to-end testing and comprises functional and non-functional testing. To conclude, I would like to say that digital testing is essential for high quality and reliable digital transformation and customer experience. That's it from my side. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. You were before time, actually. Congratulations. So that's
Thank
really,
you so
really
much.
good. And I'd like to
Great to hear.
invite the judges to come on stage and give you their feedbacks. So let's start with Lalit
That
first.
will be wonderful.
So very well timed, very well delivered. The slides were nicely done. You seem to have prepared also very well. So that's on the presentation part. I am just not convinced that the entire presentation really complements the theme of the round, which was human side of testing. If it would have been importance of digital transformation and how testing can support or how critical testing is in digital transformation world, I would have said very well done. So apart from
Okay.
this mismatch, I feel it could be
Yeah.
a different opinion from other judges. Otherwise, it's good.
Thank you. Thank you for your feedback, Lalit.
Thank you so much. Anna, would you like to go next?
Yes, thank you very much, Suman, for your presentation. I echo Lalit, really well-rounded, well-spoken, good slides, on time, everything's good. Yeah, and I did miss what Lalit was saying, a little, human side of testing, because to me, digital testing does, I don't know if it's a new definition or something like that. I couldn't get it. Maybe you can tell me, like, what is it, the difference between any other testing? That to me was like confusion.
Right. Mainly digital testing is, yeah, as you rightly said, it's the holistic approach, because the theme was about the testing methodology, testing approach. So digital testing is nothing different, but yeah, it is more of complete, like it focuses mainly on the digital transformation projects, and that's why
Ah,
the name is digital testing. Yeah. So
got it.
the
Okay,
relevance
so
what I saw, yeah. Sorry, please go
I got
ahead.
it. I got it. So I'm not sure if you got if this is like your definition or it's an industry definition, but I would change it.
No,
I would say like
right.
test for digital transformation projects, something like that.
Sure.
Then
Sure.
it would make more sense, because I'm like listening, and are you introducing new way of testing? And
Okay. Sure.
I'm not hearing that,
No,
but
that's not. No. So yeah, you are
yeah.
right. So
So
testing
testing
for the
for
digital transformation, you got it.
Yeah,
Yes.
testing
But
for
thanks for your
digital
suggestion.
transformation project. That makes more
Right.
sense to me. And then you actually can put more of what Lalit was saying about putting like
Right.
human sides of testing there. Because yes, you
Got
need
it.
to
No.
understand that project and why this project is being done. What's the goal of digital transformation? And then you can
Right.
adjust your testing accordingly. So yeah, okay,
Right.
thank you. Okay,
Agreed.
got it.
No, thanks
Okay.
for the valuable feedback, Lalit and Anna.
Thank you. Over to you, Naveen.
Yeah. Thank you, Suman, for the presentation. It was excellent. Slides were well done. But as Anna
Sure.
mentioned, right, I mean, for me, digital testing is like kind of a fancy term defined by
Right.
some, right? I mean,
Right.
I've given some backstory, okay, why
Right.
digital testing, what is the, way it came, why it evolves.
Right.
Basically, for me, I don't make sense much because of the term digital testing. It kind of a more of
Right.
a evolution, because people are
Right.
moving from on-premise to cloud. So it's more
Right.
like a cloud ecosystem,
Right.
right? So that is one thing.
Right.
Yeah, probably would have put more thoughts on first few slides. And when it comes
Okay.
to the testing types, I don't see
Right.
anything new. Whatever you mentioned, it's well known. Even for a
Right.
student who's studying in the college, they are covering
Right.
QA as the curriculum. So they already
Right.
know about the types. So I don't see
Right.
anything new.
Right.
And the term non-functional kind of a misnomer. There is no such
Okay.
thing called non-functional testing. Without
Okay.
performance, it won't be functional. So we have to remove the
Right.
term non-functional from our industry itself. That's what whenever I
Okay.
talk myself, even my company, or whenever I talk to people, I just say there is no such thing as a NFR, non-functional requirements.
Okay.
Everything's a functional requirements. So
Got
probably
it.
that should have paid more attention, and you'd have got some more research, and would have
Right.
done better. But
Okay.
the next few slides, whatever the examples, the healthcare, telecom, so those things
Right.
are well. But again,
Okay.
it did not make more impact on digital testing. So,
Okay.
but yeah, the topic you selected and the more thing, human side, probably would have touched more. That's what my
Sure.
opinion is.
So maybe for the coming themes, probably I will, implement these. But thank you so much, judges, for all the valuable feedback. Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. And once again, congratulations, Suman, for being part of one of the 9 contestants in this battle round.
Yeah.
Hope it goes really well. Good luck.
Sure.
And thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
judges. So, on to our last contestant of the day, who's Trisha. A little bit about Trisha is that she's a software tester within automation. No, actually, she's a software tester. She is an automation enthusiast, and some of her hobbies include conferences, meetups, and being a community member. So, welcome, Trisha.
Thank you, Naveena. Thanks
How are
for
you,
what.
Trisha?
I'm good. How about you?
All good, thank you. So the stage is over to you, Trisha. Whenever you feel free, just share your screen, and I'll let you know when I can see it.
So my screen is already shared. Shall I
Yeah,
start?
perfect. Yeah, go for it. Good luck.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Trisha Chetani. Today I'm going to share my experience with user research testing. While I was thinking about this theme, which is human side of testing, this was the most relevant topic I found. Since other type of testing, we would get a feedback from business stakeholder, co-workers, somebody else in the team, but not the actual users or customers. In this testing, we are identifying the potential users and we are building the product. That's why I found this is the most relevant testing technique based on the theme. Now, let me take you through the agenda of the day. Today, I'm going to talk about why we are doing user research testing, the main idea, how to do it, lesson learned, pros and cons, next step. So now let me take you through the why part of the agenda. So the problem statement was we did not understand our customer well. And can we have a show of our virtual hand if we know our customer well? Okay, thank you. Now in the next slide, I'll explain more in brief. Let me set up some context first. I was working at Amazon and I had only 1 year of experience then in the software testing. And our team had the idea of why we cannot sell the used product online. We started building on it. Since we did not want our users to have a bad experience in the website or app, we were lacking a confidence to release the product. Internally, we all were biased. Now let me take you the challenges inside the team. We we have an idea which led to like a lot of challenges with saying what was coming up, what was going inside the team. If something was coming to for a test, I was confused. I didn't knew what to test, how to test, and this all happened because we didn't have any common goal of the product. There was no purpose about the product. The meeting, which should take 1 hour, was taking a week long. And since in the meeting there was a quite lot of suggestions and ideas, all this impacted our launch. Now we are done with the problem statement as part of the agenda. Let me move to the main idea. The challenges inside the team led me to do a retrospective. We agreed on the retrospective to do a user research testing. Let me explain my understanding about user research testing. User research testing gives us the deeper understanding about what is our customer needs and what is their behavior by observing the real users to attempt how they are attempting to completing the task. The users are usually observed by researchers, business stakeholder, or anybody who is directly involved with the product. The goal of the testing is to reveal the confusions of the users and uncover the opportunity to improve overall users experience. Let me take you how I did it or how our team did it. We started searching the profile for the shopaholic users. These users were from different age group, degrees, income, gender, different experiences, experience in the sense of whether they were technical, non-technical. And then once we have identified some sort of persona, we started sending them the question. Once they have replied us with the answers, we started screening their reply. We shortlisted them. We invited them. While we were inviting, we also need a training. So in the training, my seniors helped me to understand during the user research testing, I don't need to say much. I need to keep myself silent and let them think, observe what they are doing, and make a note of how they are feeling. I need to echo. The echo word should be, what do you think? What would you do if you are at home? Or what is your first impression? And make a note of if they are saying, I'm confused, I'm guessing, I'm looking for something. Now let me take you through what happened on the actual research testing day. I was feeling terrible. I was completely heartbroken. In specific, when the user was saying they were not able to find what they are looking for, they were not able to return to the page where they came from. They were not able to determine where they are at the moment, what they want to do the next, or they were not able to find what the pop message is conveying to them. Based on different persona, because I've actually interviewed only two users over there. So one user was a technical user, and he was a very smart guy. Since he was a smart guy and he was a technical guy, he was working in some IT industries and he was shopaholic. Seeing a pop-up message, he got frustrated. I was feeling terrible. There was another person who was little old and he was not a technical guy. He was confused and he didn't know how to navigate and he was asking me help. But during the training, I got the instruction saying that I cannot help them. I was helpless at that moment of time. Then I started reflecting back and I found I was biased, doing the same testing over a period of time. The good part was we did not launch the product, but the bad part was we need to do the whole rework, which was costing us time, money, resource, scope. From the agenda perspective, we have completed how we did the user research testing. Now let me take you through the lesson learned. We learn the iterative development of user interface by study requirement of user research testing. This means we have constantly learned about the product, users, and build the product around it. We also learned about different persona, and we got a chance to evolve ourselves. For example, we were first able to identify the pain point, and then we found what is most likable by user, and then we worked on removing what was confusing to them, which functionality, which text. Then we worked on out of like three functionality, which was doing the same thing, which was most likable. We did using A to B testing. Now I have covered with the lesson learned. Now let me take you through the pros and cons. Personally, when I was doing the user research testing, from the pros part, I liked we were getting a lot of qualitative data when I was interacting with the users, customers, and it was super helpful. But from the con part, one session with the one session we only had 5 users, and it was hard to measure the data unless we have repeated this session with multiple users, which was a time consuming process. Now let me take through the next step. As mentioned in the previous slide, we were doing iterative development, which means like we improved over a time, we became more confident, we became more focused. We tackled our content based on what user wanted and what they can easily find, what they can easily focus on. And we adapted our user research methods based on path sorting, contextual inquiry, study, which could be either done in cafe, shopping mall, anywhere. We also included eye tracking, online sessions, remote sessions. Most importantly, we started recording all of this session. While recording, we can actually find ourselves if we have missed any point, or we can observe ourselves and become a better facilitator. And we also started incorporating briefing after each session. While we were debriefing, we got some ideas which we used as an affinity testing technique map. Affinity testing technique was something wherein we can group together ideas which will lead us to do a better user research testing, but from the next time onward with a dedicated time slot. Now let me take you through the summary part. As mentioned in the previous slide, we more robust way of testing. This means we were conducting the user research testing before launch, after launch, during the after development. This means it was an ongoing process throughout. Learn, build, develop, measure. Here, learning means what do we know? Card sorting, eye tracking, field studies, online survey, offline survey. Building. Here, building means how we are doing. We were simultaneously incorporating part from doing active development. Measure. How did we do? We started using analytics, the conversion rate, return on investment, comparing with our customer. This showed we became more effective, more efficient, and we evolved over a period of time. All this, I realized user researching was a technique wherein we can build a superior relationship with the customer. While doing the user research testing, we observed there was a more customers who were visiting it. They were actually visiting a page which was not visited over a long period of time. With this summary slide, I've completed my topic for the day, but I've not introduced myself. Let me do that now. I'm Trisha Chetani. I've worked as a software tester for 9 years. I've worked on the front end, back end, mobile testing. Recently, I've been selected as Browse Stack Champion, Postman Supernova, 125 Awesome Software Tester, and I love collaborating and networking with people. My Twitter handle and LinkedIn handle are same. I would appreciate if you could tweet and share a LinkedIn post about Talk Today. Now, my next slide is about gratitude. I would pay a sincere gratitude to Kritika Ganeshan. She helped me with her constant feedback to come up and shape up this talk for today. I also want to share my gratitude to Synapse QA for giving me this platform. I also want to share my gratitude to judges for listening me today. Thank you. I'm open feedback.
Thank you so much, Trisha, for your session. And it was really, really insightful. Now the stage is open to the judges to actually give you feedback. So let's start with
Me?
Yes.
Trisha, thank you for the very interesting story, and I can relate to it because I was at some point in my career, I pretty much did the same what you guys did, and it was amazing. My what I feel is your slides are not really showing us your story. You try to do a lot of summaries, and summary is good, but I would really love like when you show some summaries and there was some like um, uh, summary words. There was like 4 words, and then during these 4 words, you've been talking about specific steps. It was very specific that you actually did and how they help you. I would love to see that in the slide as well because I'm reading the slide and I'm listening to you and I'm like, are you trying to put something in my like head? Are you trying to like summarize for me? But I would like to summarize myself what I'm hearing from you. So I would really like your slide to be more descriptive of what exactly you're talking about because that's very interesting story. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
Thank
like you mean to say, just to iterate, like you mean to say my summary slide should be more reflecting.
Of what you're talking about exactly, of your presentation itself, of your points,
Okay.
and your specifics, because what you needed there are specifics. Otherwise it looks like it's like a cookie cutter. I can use this presentation and talk about something else, but it shouldn't be. It should be your unique story, and your presentation should really connect to your slides should connect to your story. Okay, because I
Thank you.
want to see the slide is it's like a tool for me to remember what you said. But if I take this slide and I don't listen to you, it doesn't tell me much like this.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Over to you, Lalit.
I'm not able to hear you, Lalit.
Sorry, I was on
I
mute.
don't
Can you hear
think.
me now? So a couple of things. The talk has been good, but I'm kind of biased about it because you already wrote this as an article in Titami Tester, so I more or less knew what to expect. Even though you did not present, I'm familiar with your content. Uh, but I agree with the feedback from Anna that there could be a better connect between what you were talking about and what was being presented on the slides. And I also think there was a lot of content. Maybe you could perhaps cut it short a bit and focus more detailed explanation of things, like instead of covering more topics, maybe choose some and go deeper. On the preparation slide, I think you could test your background or lighting conditions or even things like that, because it was very difficult to hear you. I think it's very windy on your side, and also since the bright light is coming from behind, it was very difficult for me to see your expressions. I would have loved to see how you are presenting as a speaker, because it matters when you present on the stage. And also in your presentation style, I felt you had some patterns and you were falling back on one typical pattern, which was in between making the presentation monotonous, and then suddenly you were switching it to some other pattern of speaking. So maybe with more practice, my recommendation would be to be natural and just be yourself. And if you are assuming some style, then be consistent with it and make sure that you're not losing it in between. But otherwise, it was a good talk, and I think with more practice, you would definitely be better. Thank you.
Okay, over to you, Naveen.
Yeah, thank you, Trisha, for the talk. I think you have prepared well, I guess. I mean, I don't see any pause, I don't see any lag when continuing the slides. But sadly, I don't see the story actually. The storytelling could be more improved. I think, as other judges mentioned about the slides, slides needs to be remaked, or probably you have to retouch the slides. And while continuing from one slide to another slide, you could have maintained that flow or kind of a storytelling pattern you could have maintained throughout the slide. There is some of the feedback I have, but otherwise you prepared well, and it was a good talk. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, judges and Trisha. Of course, Trisha, good luck to you. It's a big thing to be part of the 9 contestants to be chosen for the battle round. So, congratulations, first of all. And yeah, all constructive feedback. And it's a milestone as well ticked off. So, slowly, we'll get there with everything. So, thank you very, very much. We are now going to close the battle round. Thank you so much, Synapse QA. This has been an excellent approach to get new speakers on stage. I've not seen many stages where new speakers do come up to speak and have that confidence. So thank you so much for actually finding people who are keen to learn and keen to be out there and share with the community. Once again, I would like to thank our sponsors here as well, Provar, and thank you, Tristan Lombard, as well. And a massive, massive shout out to Nithin for organizing all of this. Thank you so much. And I will be signing off as your host, Laveena Ramchandani.